On just a magnificent weather Sunday, clear skies and 70. And let's look at the Brewers' first half summary. Very even, very defensive. And the one statistic that's not there, Kansas City 60 yards penalized, none for Denver. So if you take the 60 yards off the 163, it would read Denver 112 and Kansas City 103. Each team with a turnover. And the Denver fumble recovery by Cragen. A touchdown of 17 yards, and that's the difference. 10-6 Denver as the Broncos. Treadwell kicks it off. It heads toward Todd McNair at the 7. And McNair dropped at the 24-yard line.
Excellent tactics by Denver in that kickoff. They kept that ball right along that right sideline as they kicked and cornered their man there, and there was nowhere for McNair to go. He couldn't come across the field. It was too far to go. So they've really kept Kansas City corralled down in that corner on every one of these kickoffs.
So the Chiefs with Steve Pallure at quarterback go after that 4-point Denver lead. James Saxon back in the game, number 21, as is Herman Hurd, both shaken up in the first half. And it's Hurd off his own left guard to the 28-yard line. There's Steve DeBerg, the veteran quarterback. Now he has the signal relaying responsibility. You see in his arm, he has information taped, and Pallure also looks at his arm where he has formations taped.
So they most likely, Dick, have a number 7 for each man, and they can just signaling that number. Joe Pendry, the coordinator, is calling those offensive plays.
And cannot at the 29-yard line. So Steve DeBerg will go to a tough call, 3rd and 4. Not at all happy that they got Steve Pallure. He had hoped that he'd be the quarterback and share it with Ron Jaworski. Remember, they said we'll tag team it, the two veterans.
Well, DeBerg has been with a number of clubs already, starting with San Francisco. He's one of the most persistent players. And here are the people he's replaced. Look at those great athletes and great players.
They replaced him.
Oh, they've replaced him.
He says, right. You can be assured you're going to get a great player when you let me go. We'll take another look at that list after this play. 3rd down and a long 4. Pallure from the shotgun. Got some running room and has a first down and more. Clever in the open field. They finally touch him down at the 47, 48-yard line. 14 yards.
Dennis Smith was sitting there in that lurk position. You'll see Dennis 49, Smith waiting back there for Pallure, but Pallure, look at this big hole in the middle, but Dennis Smith is going to make his big hit right there, and Pallure outmaneuvers him.
And as they spotted out the 47-yard line, make it a 19-yard scramble.
Well, DeBerg's big problem, and speaking of Steve, is the difference between himself and Pallure. All those people we saw mentioned have mobility and can move, and Steve is not the quickest footed man. Very accurate passer, not that quick.
Saxon protecting the ball, and well, he should, because he had no chance to get anywhere as Greg Cragen was right in the hole. Let's go back to the list of men that when DeBerg was the quarterback, and he's been good cement for a while. Then he left San Francisco when they got Montana. Denver got their use out of him because Elway came along. And Tampa Bay was Steve Young, then Testaverde, and now Steve Pallure here. He's assured a great quarterback, he said, wherever he goes and then leaves.
Well, with us at San Francisco, we broke the NFL record for completions in a season. So he's had his moments of glory and success.
And down Saxon. So he's had 2 runs here since coming back from a first half injury, and does not seem solid on either.
Steve DeBerg is one of those very persistent people that believe in themselves. He's somewhat short on certain phases of athletic ability, but he believes in himself, he's persistent, and he's willing to take any role in order to participate. His big problem has been he'd get flat-footed and throw through defensive linemen, not seeing his receivers, and his interceptions would pile up. But as far as an accurate passer, an intelligent person, outstanding. He wants to be a coach, which may mean there is a flaw somewhere in his makeup.
No one's perfect. On 3rd and 10, Pallure gets McNair, and Todd McNair, an outstanding receiver out of the backfield. First down at the 37.
Well, what appeared to be a big factor going into the game was the pass rush of Denver. But at this point, Pelluer is meeting these people extremely well from the standpoint of feeling that rush, taking his time, and accurately throwing the ball. I didn't think he was going to be able to do this. Of course, it remains to be seen the rest of the game. But at this point, he's handling this thing very, very well.
Good move by McNair on the linebacker, Curtis. First down from the 38. Fake to Saxon. And the throw to Jonathan Hayes. And Tyrone Braxton forces the fumble. And here goes Atwater with Pelluer to beat. And Pelluer rides him down at the 33-yard line. And there are a lot of Denver fans here, and they love it.
Well, it was the wrong play for that defense, or vice versa. Denver was going to rotate their deep people. Pelluer's running the bootleg. We have a man to contain it. And then that corner sitting outside right there, and he never really had the ball.
Braxton forced the fumble, and the rookie from Arkansas, Atwater, picks it up, and Pelluer hanging tenaciously to the jersey, and Wade Phillips, the Bronco defensive coordinator, proud of his defense, and he was already to signal touchdown on that one. So it's 10-6. And the first possession now in the second half for the Broncos, and it's Humphrey to the 30-yard line before Chris Martin can make the tackle.
One thing as a ball carrier you don't want to do is get in a tugging match for the ball. If you feel a defender has got as much of that ball as you do, you work toward him. Don't try to pull the ball away, because either one of you could win. Just push toward him, and then they'll always give you the benefit of the doubt.
So as you feel pressure that a defender has that ball, you just go right with the pressure.
Go right with him. Don't pull it away.
Second down.
Ooh, great shot.
Neil Smith, a #1 pick out of Nebraska, makes the defensive stop.
That was a delayed draw type play, and Smith took an inside charge and just took the play apart.
They feel this man could be a star, Smith, in his second year.
Smith's going to come right up inside here, and he basically is going to be unblocked because he gets inside of the tackle right there.
Well,
so Baldinger wasn't ready for that inside move, and it really made a difference.
That's the kind of move that can force a fumble, but Humphrey alertly held on. It's 3rd and 7. There's that shovel pass to Sewell in the open. And down to the 12-yard line. First down, Denver.
Beautifully executed.
That's a great play out of that shotgun. You let that hard charge come in, and you just flip that shovel pass in front of them.
Well, in this particular case, Kansas City was in just the wrong defense. There's a big hole, so they could double down, pull a guard through the hole, and this man's going to overrun it, working toward Elway. So you see Thomas coming way up, thinking he's got Elway. There's the backside guard pulling and blocking, and Sewell working up the field.
So it wasn't out of the shotgun. From under center, Elway works that shovel pass. That was a favorite play with Reeves running it as a Dallas player for Tom Landry. In the flat, and Derek Thomas can't make the tackle, but slows up Bobby Humphrey. And it's little or no gain. Dino Hackett finally finished the job.
Apparently Denver thinks those kinds of things are going to beat an intense Kansas City defense that's really charging, really playing intense football. We just saw a shovel pass, that time a quick screen to the outside.
A loss of a yard, 2nd and 11 at the Kansas City 13. Clarence Kay and Pat Kelly, a pair of tight ends in now. Elway sends Jackson to the left. To Humphrey on the draw, and Humphrey to the 10, where his buddy from Alabama, Derek Thomas, and Dino Hackett make the tackle.
Well, the intensity of the Kansas City defense is just barely holding its own right now. They're playing with such intensity that they're holding Denver off. And the kinds of plays that will hurt that intensity are your shovel pass, your screen, trick-type plays that take advantage of somebody fully committing himself.
Well, there's a guy fully committed, linebacker Hackett from Appalachian State. He prides himself in being a Jack Lambert type. I want to be tough. I want to be able to stop that run. 3rd down and 8. Incomplete. And a flag. Is there a flag down? The pressure on Elway right up the middle.
Well, we had both safeties blitzing up inside against that four-receiver offense. Just not enough blockers to handle these people. Last week, they destroyed Seattle with these blitzing defenses. I'm sure Elway thought he was going to throw the ball hot to his wide receiver before the blitz got to him, and he just couldn't throw an accurate pass.
Deron Cherry was applying the pressure. Treadwell tries the field goal and connects from 27 yards. So the fumble recovery led to a touchdown in the first half, and Atwater has set up a field goal early here in the second. Oh, those turnovers, and that's been key to this game as Denver now up 13-6. Only one touchdown, that on defense. It comes down to Danny Copeland. And the Chiefs Plan B free agent, one of 17 selected by the Chiefs, takes it out to the 27-yard line. A touchdown lead for the Broncos, and they have scored 10 of their 13 points off turnovers. Now let's go back to the safety blitz of Cherry that
again, both
Elway.
safeties are up, coming inside hard. Elway wants to hit this man down the field, but he's not going to be open. So the blitzers are going to get there before he can throw an accurate pass. You can see it coming. He had no time to really drill in on his receiver because of his vision being cut off. Again, Kansas City's been doing that and getting away with it. They destroyed Seattle a week ago. They just destroyed it.
And now Steve Pallure at the controls from the 27. Again, Christian Okoye, who is just 67 yards shy of 1,000 yards, has not played today and apparently will not play. James Saxon in his place across the 35 to the 36-yard line. There's Okoye from Azusa Pacific. Has had 6 100-yard games. Had led the league by well over 100 yards coming into this one. The other scores. Miami is pulled within 3.
2nd and 2.
There's apparently no trouble in Pittsburgh. And Detroit still pounding on Green Bay 24-3.
You notice that Washington has come back now as ahead of Philadelphia. Joe Gibbs, one of the great coaches in the game today.
2nd and 2.5. And Hurd caught in the backfield by Simon Fletcher, and he stops him for no gain. Here, it's 13-6. Let's check elsewhere to NFL Live in New York.
All right, Dick, you mentioned Miami creeping closer. Here's their first offensive play of the second half. Marino airs it out. 78-yard beauty to Mark Clayton over Bobby Humphrey. They had trailed at one point 20-3. They creep back to 20-17 early in the third. Back to Dick and Bill.
All right, Bob, 13-6 here at Arrowhead Stadium. And this enthusiastic sellout crowd, the third sellout of the year for Kansas City. They're starting to believe in what Schottenheimer's doing. Third down and 1 shotgun floor. He gets away from Brooks and is able to slide out to the first down at the 40-yard line. Dennison and Smith there to cover him.
Pallure just uses his instincts and his quickness to avoid this, because he's really going to get somebody just totally unblocked coming straight up the field. It's going to be right here on his right-hand side. This is an unblocked man, and Pallure is going to hold his ground and make the big move on it. But again, you wouldn't want to base an offense on this. Look at this, completely unblocked, and Pallure gets an over-anxious defender to make a commitment, and then he beats him.
And he was one of the leading rushing quarterbacks in the league at Dallas last year, and he's tied with Saxon today. And there's Hurd breaking into the clear and was one man away from a touchdown. Tyrone Braxton saved it at the 46 of Denver.
Well, Hurd broke behind the blockers that time. Everybody's been massing up. Everyone's been massing up to make a play, and this time Hurd will break behind. You'll see people pull on this backside, but Hurd will take that ball right through here behind the backside of his blocking. Everybody's moving with it. He comes in behind the whole thing. That's good running instincts.
And a saving tackle by Braxton in the open field. Trailing 13-6, Kansas City and Denver territory. And it appeared Cragen, yes, he did make contact, the center, as he lurched forward at the ball, and that'll be 5 yards apparently against the Broncos.
You know, Dick, this Kansas City team is most likely a year or probably
Encroachment, defense, 5-yard penalty.
2 years away. But the intensity and all the concepts used and the coaching, you've got to think this is going to be a very successful franchise with Carl Peterson and Marty Schottenheimer directing it.
You saw Dan Reeves arguing, and the loud cheer for a 5-yard penalty. Obviously, Kansas City fans noting that that's the first penalty against the Broncos today. 1st and 5 for Pelor. We have Saxon and now Hurd lined up directly behind him. Neil Perry in motion. Hurd again left side. And gets to the 40-yard line, short a couple of yards of a first down. Greg Cragen sliding from that nose tackle position to get a piece of the action again. And what a game Cragen is having. A touchdown, 6 tackles, a sack, a pass defended.
Marty Schottenheimer says this is the best defensive man they have from the standpoint of all-around sound football. So he's one of the best nose guards in football, but one of the best players on this team.
6'3" and 265 pounds. Greg Cragen. Second and a short 2. It's Saxon. A little delay, but it appears that he's able to duck in under the defensive pressure and does have the first down at the 37-yard line. Yes, he does. Time running out in the 3rd quarter. This defensive struggle. Denver leading 13-6. The only touchdown of the game on a fumble recovery by the nose tackle Cragen of the Broncos. You mentioned with Bob Costas on NFL Live that with Okoye, had he played more football, had more experience, you think that he might play with that thigh bruise injury today?
Well, you have to condition your body to accept a certain amount of pain, especially a flesh-type injury. And Christian Okoye has not played that much football. And to learn how to play when your effectiveness is reduced dramatically and still be able to function is very difficult. He's still learning to play the game of football.
And Pelor, the new quarterback, has to call a timeout. Well, understandably, with his success, Christian Okoye, number 35, has many nicknames. Big Mon, the Nigerian Nightmare, Cho-Cho, Okoye, the Destroyer. But he hasn't played today with that thigh bruise. First down after the timeout as Pelor straightens things and gives to Saxon up the middle. And James Saxon using his 215 pounds to drive to the 33-yard line. And a gain of 5 on first down. Michael Brooks, the linebacker from LSU, in on the stop.
Everything's happening to Kansas City's left. John Alt, Mark Edick, and Mike Webster primarily are the guys that are taking people off that line of scrimmage. Also, they're going to play Roberts or Hayes and tight into that side and get good results from them. So this is beginning to give a certain personality to this Kansas City team. Just hammering that ball inside.
And using up the clock as they do with Okoye. The quick pass this time outside to Harry, who takes a pounding after about a 3-yard gain from Wyman Henderson.
That ball was in the air too long.
Yeah, Wyman.
They better practice that one a little longer.
Henderson, had he been playing a little tighter, would have had a shot at an interception.
Yeah, that could have been another big turnover.
Quickie out, and Henderson closing in a hurry. It's 3rd and 1 after a painful 4-yard gain.
Well, I'm glad to see they're in this kind of a set with 2 tight ends going for it.
Pulling that guard and tackle on the left side, Addix and Alt, and driving for a first down goes Saxon inside the 25. Boy, that is a good line, isn't it, Bill?
It is an excellent blocking by Jonathan Hayes at tight end. Excellent blocking. Now you see Addix and Alt pulling cleanly. Great job by Hayes blocking, and they make that work. I'm sure glad to see that rather than jump right into a 4-receiver thing and try to throw a pass. The personality is to run. Now they've got to take advantage of it.
And they're in no hurry to get off a play in the final seconds of the 3rd quarter. There's some real decleaters, some blocks that are knocking defensive players right on their back. And that is the end of 3 quarters. Dan Reeves' defense, the difference. It's the Broncos, 13-6. To the fourth quarter here at Arrowhead Stadium. Denver 7-2, and they make a strong case for being 9-0. Tough losses to Philadelphia and to the Cleveland Browns. Kansas City hungry for a win that would pull them to 500 at 5-5 and give them hopes of a possible wild card fight. First down as we open the fourth quarter at the 25 of Denver. Here's Saxon. And he's pushed out of bounds after a gain of about 3, and a flag is down. Mecklenburg was the man who made the play, forcing Saxon wide. And again, how many times today Kansas City gets down into that inside the 30 of the penalty?
Number 48, offense. 10-yard penalty. Will replay the first down.
Todd McNair, the rookie running back, guilty of the hold.
This becomes a real sensitive call right now, because Kansas City really doesn't have the guns to be able to get this 20 yards back that easily. So each one of these has got to progressively get 5 or 8 at a shot rather than go for all of them. A real sensitive time in the game because they may not get this field position again.
The resourceful new quarterback of the Chiefs, Dee Fuller, looks at first and 20. Use a draw play to McNair that doesn't do anything at all. Dennis Smith came up quickly from safety to plug the hole. Other scores, Buffalo galloping now, 27-0. Jim Kelly has returned, and they're answering Indianapolis's big win at home against Buffalo. Green Bay has cut the lead. Detroit lead to 24-10. Second and 19. Incomplete, intended for Pete Manley. Wyman Henderson on the coverage, and that pass now really drilled in there.
That's tough. Tough to get the timing of that. Fuller is still holding the ball too long before he automatically throws it. Now, it's important here, Dick, to get part of it back to get 3 more points on that board. 3 points would be obviously very valuable here. So they've got to try to get 3 points on that board somehow.
A field goal try from this spot would be about 52 yards. So Ballure trying to help out Lowry, moving closer to those uprights. Well, that Webster gets the ball back in a hurry out of that shotgun. Ballure fighting for his life again. And there goes the field goal. Mecklenburg again.
Mecklenburg, what a football player. He's the prototype football player. From the outside as a defensive end coming up the field, he's got an excellent man blocking him, but he's so persistent. Now watch his speed and his angle coming to the outside. He's going to cut off Ballure. Now he's back up in there after him. So he took Ballure's run away, corralled him, then came up after him.
Took his pass away and then took the field goal away. What a play. That's a 3-point tackle by Mecklenburg. Good burn. Trying to improve on that 31.5-yard average. End over end toward the sideline. And a pretty good kick. That bounces at the 6-yard line. Timeout. 14 minutes left. And we'll return to Arrowhead after these messages from your local station. Duron Sherry with 43 career interceptions. He's looking for a shot now against Elway, and boy, does he have a rooting section. His dad is here from the Philadelphia area. His wife and Duron Jr. in the stands, and this crowd now trying to help out the defense. Elway to Humphrey, and the rookie is nailed at the line of scrimmage. Neil Smith, 90, one of the first to get there. Sherry, 6 consecutive Pro Bowls. He came here as a free agent punter out of Rutgers, and there's his father, who has been his inspiration, his fan, his lovely wife, as we look to the left there, third in from the aisle, and her sister, almost looks like a twin sister, Faith, the wife, Diane, the sister standing, is Albert Lewis and Diane apparently are quite serious, and there's Duron Jr. in the lap of the young woman next to Diane. He's well supported, and so are these Chiefs. This town's so hungry for the return of the winner. Humphrey going wide.
Hackett made 1 tackle. complete tackle. He came down that line of scrimmage and just caught that inside out. And when they talk about the most inspirational players on this team, Cherry's name comes up, Dino Hackett. The intensity that he has as a football player. He's a tough, emotional athlete.
He said he dreamed
across that line of scrimmage, right behind the ball. Here he is, right there, right on the money.
Dreamed of being a pro football player back as long as he can remember. People have asked me when I was a little boy, what are you going to be when you grow up? I want to be a pro football player. Big play, 3rd and 4. Elway will throw for it and throws it away. Boy, did Lloyd Burris and Lewis Cooper, they were ready for the pass in the flat, and Elway, smart enough to recognize it, threw it away.
Well, Elway wanted a screen to try to take advantage of that blitz, and he couldn't get the ball off accurately. We had people coming from the outside here. Elway wanted his screen to develop out here, but he couldn't throw an accurate ball. He just couldn't beat people to the punch. Here they come. He has to throw it away. Had no chance. Beautifully executed defense. This attacking kind of defense is very, very effective. Bill Toller, the young defensive coordinator, 32 years of age, has done a great job with this defense.
Horan sends one of those beautiful spirals towards Nasworthen, who bobbles the ball. And does he get it back? Yes, he does at the 28-yard line. Oh, my.
That was a tough one to try to catch. Back over his shoulder, running right into a coverage man from Denver.
Well, what a punt by Horan from his own goal line, driving it deep 54 yards, then the fumble. And it appeared for a moment that Curtis of Denver would have another recovery. Timeout. Kansas still fans, 50,000 American flags handed out. Celebration of Veterans Day weekend. Biggest score of this week was in East Berlin, where they decided to let him through the wall. Allure finds his receiver coming back, Pete Manley, and a first down at the 41-yard line. Now to NFL Live, Bob Costas in New York.
All right, Dick, at one point, the Dolphins trailed 20-3 late in the second quarter at the Meadowlands. Now they've taken the lead. Here's Marino to Scott Schwades. The defensive back gambles, doesn't get the interception. Schwades instead goes 65 yards. It's Marino's 3rd touchdown pass of the day. They just intercepted the Jets. They're inside the New York 5, looking to add to what is now a 24-20 lead. Dick?
And Miami with one of the easiest schedules going home at the end of this season. And Don Shula's club trying to position itself for a run of the playoff. Well, there's Allure pulled back before the snap from Webster. And there again, the coordination between center and quarterback and the offense. A new man at the helm. Cost another 5 yards.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, it's that snap count that Pelor's, I assume, was much different than Kansas City's trying to adapt. You see, now he's been trying to come out of there. And most likely, Dallas had a system where that ball would have been snapped earlier. But these are the kind of growing pains you go through developing a franchise. They're that simple. They're not going to avoid growing pains, regardless of how well they're coached and how intense the team is.
Not only the 75 yards of penalties, but the yardage he didn't get because of the call, not reflected in those numbers.
And a play pass.
Right into coverage and incomplete. Jonathan Hayes, the intended receiver, and Mark Munford, 51, the linebacker, was right there for the Broncos.
Well, Pelor telegraphed that one all the way. The previous play, he's fine. He throws a nice, accurate ball. But now we're going to be releasing off the line of scrimmage. And Hayes is going to be running a quick out pattern. But you see the coverage is on both sides of him. The ball is forced inside. And most likely, Pelor didn't know who to go to next. With Hayes covered, number 85 Hayes covered, he should have had someone else to go to, but he forced the ball in. These are just the usual growing pains that can't be avoided.
That'll be a second start in Kansas City. 2nd and 15, shotgun Steve Pelor. And another whistle, and that's delay of the game. Couldn't get the play off before the 45 seconds. So frustrated are these Kansas City fans.
Delay of game offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Well, Kansas City we have a crowd here today, a tremendous crowd. And talking to Dino Hackett yesterday, he was indicating that In years past, Denver playing here would have more fans, or at least more support, more banners, more signs than Kansas City. So they're making the conversion. The people are here today. They're just going to have some patience for this organization, this new team.
And there are Bronco fans here. It's a long drive, but many have made it all the way from the Mile High City here to Kansas City. Into the flat and complete. Nasworthen, and he's out of bounds. Make that Clarence Weathers. Clarence Weathers' first catch of the game. The former Cleveland Brown, and he was with the Indianapolis Colts, played for Schottenheimer in Cleveland.
It's a nifty little receiver.
And he has his tribute to Lou Erber, who is the man who signed him out of Delaware State. His brother Robert was a top draft pick of the New England Patriots, and he came just to work out one day, catch some passes, and Lou Erber said, hey, who is this kid? Let's sign him, and did. And his mentor, and Lou Erber, is battling a tough illness in Southern California, and he remembers him as Weathers. McNair unable to handle the pass on third down, and Kansas City, and what was not a well-executed opportunity, that series of downs, will have to punt it away.
A year from now, Plur would hit that pass. He'd hit a number of these. Now, maybe not. And that's the problem with a new quarterback, signing him during the year, trying to make it work, trying to patch it together and still play competitive football. Very, very difficult.
Woods back at the 22. Good burn. Sends out a high twisting kick. Back to the 13. Good coverage. And he is going to be smothered inside the 10.
Well, Kurt Schottenheimer must feel a little bit better with his special teams.
Timeout, 11 minutes to go, and the Broncos lead by a touchdown. Christian Okoye, he told us 2 days ago how he had to explain to his father in Nigeria what football was all about and these crazy helmets and all the gear you wear.
Well, he said that the key is for the team with the ball to get across that line and the other people to stop him. Then he said, the dad said, well, why all that equipment? Well, that stuff on your body. Says, sometimes we run into each other very, very hard.
Did you ever have to try to explain this game to someone?
You know that story. I had a high school team, an undefeated season going, and we lost the game 7-6. The first game my mother and father-in-law had ever seen, and I had to explain that game for hours afterwards. You don't think I was dying.
Elway hands off to Humphrey, who finds a hole and darts out to the 18-yard line. That's a big play for the Broncos as Kansas City trying to tie up the Broncos deep in their own end. But Humphrey comes through, and Kevin Ross, number 31 in the lineup now, he's the man who can force that ball away, made the hit.
Ross is going to force some tempers because he does hit, and he is a mean football player.
Captain Caveman, as he has been tagged by his teammates.
And this is where frustration might set in for Kansas City because they've played so hard and so long. If Denver moves the ball now, it's going to be tough to come back after really a great effort.
Second and short. Crowd trying to make it tough on Elway, changing his play apparently. Humphrey. No way. Dino Hackett spearheaded the charge. Derek Thomas was there as well. And a flag is down. Might have been delay a game with all the noise. We didn't hear a whistle.
Delay a game penalty. Technically, there was no snap. It's still second down with a 5-yard penalty.
Well, actually, Dan Reeves, that may be the better of the options. It would have been third and about 4. Now it's second and 6.5. Other scores, Miami now 11-point lead. Dolphins would go 7-5. Green Bay closing in. They can score that Packer offense. 10 minutes to go here in Kansas City. Second down. Elway going deep for Jackson, and he can't hang on. Lloyd Burris was the man cutting him down low and jarring the ball free.
Burris had to sprint. He almost didn't get there. It was a rotating secondary. Burris had to get to that corner. Nice throw, but he got there. He used his speed to just make it in time. You'll notice the rotation by the corner, coming forward, Albert Lewis. Now there's a big hole behind it, looks wide open, but here comes Burris just in time to make the play.
Good throw by Elway. The Broncos' wide receiving corps has yet to catch a pass. Third and 6 and a big play. Oh my, what a hit by Thomas. No fumble. Derek Thomas with his second sack today.
Well, there's that great athletic ability. As we talked it, you can remember how we talked about just being a natural pass rusher. As a freshman in college, he could do it better than even Cornelius Bennett. And that quickness, you know, he get his pad down low, real low underneath, and his quickness just gets the job done. Gerald Perry, a good tackle, but not with a foot quickness to stay with Gerald Thomas.
So from the 3-yard line, Horan comes in to punt. Lawrence Taylor is Derek Thomas's idol. He says, someday I got that picture of Lawrence Taylor out there, and 5, 6, 7 years, I want to be as good as Taylor.
He's an extraordinary athlete, a spectacular player.
Worthen stands at the 50. Horan gets it away. High floating kick. Worthen
returned
at the 47. And to the 41-yard line, Kansas City in good field position, and these fans are excited at Arrowhead. Derek Thomas with 2 sacks today, 9.5. That, for the moment, ties him for the AFC lead. Boy, does he fly in on Elway.
Well, he used his left hand to push the tackle off, to push Perry off.
Flag goes down as Saxon on first down gets to the 36-yard line. And it appears the Chiefs are starting to self-destruct again. Another holding call.
This is a consternation for a coach because he can see his team continually penalized. And in this case, Denver may be having one 5-yard illegal procedure call.
Holding, number 85, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat the first down.
Jonathan Hayes is ticketed. At the start today, Leslie O'Neal of the Chargers. He'll play, of course, tonight against the Raiders, the Sunday night game. And Simon Fletcher of the Broncos each had 9.5 sacks to share the AFC lead. But now that young rookie from Alabama, 22-year-old Derek Thomas, has 2 scintillating sacks today to move himself up into contention for that lead. Now first and 20. Lure, off play action. Finds his man on the sidelines. Herman Hurd at the 30-yard line, and that'll be close to a first down. A man, Herman Hurd, who wanted to play for Dan Reeves and the Broncos, the Denver high school product who went to Southern Colorado and was a 3rd-round pick in '84 by these Chiefs.
Hurd moved outside as a wide receiver, but Denver was in a soft zone and allowed that comeback pattern to develop.
Pete Manley having trouble on the near side, hearing the count. Saxon goes left side, runs out of room, out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
Saxon's mad at himself because he saw a spot to cut up, and he took the option of going to the sideline and ran out of room. He really had a chance to make something happen here.
Schottenheimer said that this young back from San Jose State reminds him of Ernest Biner, who he was dearly in love with in Cleveland. He used to say, other than Kozar, Biner, the other man I just couldn't trade. Of course, he left, and Cleveland immediately did trade Biner to Washington.
Well, the knock on Saxon coming out of college was his speed, but it certainly looks good today. I don't see any problem with that.
Second down and 5. Saxon to the right side, a rare chance at the right side, and there's not much there for him. Rick Dennison, one of the inside linebackers, along with Carl Mecklenburg, in on the tackle, and the clock continues to run. 8.5 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. Denver leads 13-6.
Mecklenburg is on the top of the screen, moving laterally, Now here's a real veteran player. Everything had happened, but he would have been there had they not got him down earlier. This is a key play. You'll notice this time 2 tight ends and 2 backs, and the pass have been going to 4 wide receivers.
It goes to Hurd. Going to be close. He's to the 20-yard line. The fans on the far side cheer. They have a better angle. They thought he made it across the 20. Let's see where they spot the ball. Gene Barth is going to measure.
Well, this was good judgment on the part of the Chiefs. It was short yardage play, and this time they're going to run their basic counter play with a guard and tackle pulling. Again, Alt through the line, making a great block on Mecklenburg, and that was the difference. 2 fine players, Mecklenburg and Alt, colliding. Alt getting the job done.
Marty Schottenheimer has not used Christian Okoye. He said it's strictly up to the athlete. I'll ask him before the game how Okoye feels, and he'll tell me yes or no, basically. I don't want to play someone who doesn't feel they're close to 100%. And apparently Okoye, and we saw him try to warm up, told him I just can't go. Otherwise, we might be seeing this great 260-pound back who runs a 4.40.
Well, if they can win without Okoye, it'll develop that much more confidence and character in this team.
They need a touchdown to tie. 13-6, the ball batted right back in Fleur's face. And it appeared to be Simon Fletcher who was there.
Each call now is absolutely critical because they need 10 yards in these 3 downs. Now, Fleur is looking to his left. You see his head looking toward us, looking right at us. Now he's telegraphing the throw, and there's the block.
And Pete Manley thought he was going to get a big one.
Oh, he started a slant go pattern. He had his man beat. No question about that. Wyman Henderson bit on that slant. It would have been a big one.
That's a play they've been setting up all day long, running the slants with both wide receivers. He's isolated out on Henderson again. And he throws to Manley. Spins away. Good move. To the 3.
Henderson's giving a lot of room in front, and they get the quick out right in front of him. This is excellent play calling.
And terrific running by Pete Manley after the catch. Finally, Fletcher denies the touchdown. First and goal at the 4-yard line.
Al Saunders, the former Charger head coach, is now coaching these receivers, and I think you're seeing progress. He's one of the really sharp pass offense coaches in football.
4 yards from a tying score. And a throw for it. Incomplete, and wisely so. That, had it been complete, would have been a loss as they went to the tight end, Alfredo Roberts.
Denver has a history of playing great defense inside their own 10-yard line. A good part of it would be Mecklenburg. People like that can really go to a ball. And we've got those safety men to make the stops. This is a tough spot for Kansas City, especially wasting a down like that. They'll need that down with a run.
Mark Addix, wearing 61, is now a tight end on the left side. They'll go with 3 tight ends. And the handoff is to Saxon, who is drilled at the 5-yard line as Michael Brooks came up from a linebacker spot and made a textbook tackle.
Well, you're going to see a big tackle right here, back up inside. Unblocked man is going to go right to the ball.
You should have gotten him there, Bill. His responsibility.
Well, they really can't get a man on him. And they have to hit there before he gets there. Most often you like the center to just maybe get part of him. Now they've gone to the 4 wide receivers, and this is playing right up the alley for Denver because they're great at this. Rushing 3 men.
Into the end zone. Touchdown, Emil Harry. Washington's Pallor to Stanford's Harry, and it's 13-12.
Emil Harry has been a clutch receiver. He's bright and smooth, and he knows the game of football. He's learned it through experience. The kind of football he played at Stanford, the pass offense, a good feel for it.
And there's the tying extra point. 192 PATs in a row for Lowry as Harry congratulated on the sidelines. It's a new game at 13.
Harry's going to really straight up the field and cross, and he's going to have two defenders in the area, and he's going to split both of them. Cuts right around to the inside. Great move, great timing.
5:36 to go at Arrowhead. That tying touchdown was a touchdown of firsts for Kansas City. Steve Pelor's first throwing touchdown pass and Emil Harry's first touchdown catch of the year. He leads the Chiefs in total receptions coming in with 21. That his first TD grab. It's tied at 13. Lowry kicks it off. Oh, good kick. Chris Woods. And it'll be a touchback at the 20. NFL Live, 12:30 next Sunday. We'll start our NBC doubleheader. So join Bob and OJ and the gang in New York for all the latest football news. And then we hope you'll join us for an outstanding lineup of action. Bill and I will be at Cleveland Stadium as Marty Schottenheimer brings these Chiefs in against the Browns. The Chargers go against the Steelers. Miami getting better each week, apparently, against Dallas. Second game, Raiders in Houston. You think there'll be some hitting in that one? And how about Seattle struggling, but a chance to make amends as they visit the tough New York Giants. Now it's in the hands of Elway and the Broncos. 5:24 to go. All timeouts left for Denver. Humphrey runs into Dino Hackett at the 24-yard line. Second down and 6. And, of course, if one man has tormented the coaching life of Marty Schottenheimer, especially while in Cleveland, it was the guy wearing number 7 in white today, John Elway. Remember, first and 98 to go in the playoffs that Elway engineered the drive that tied the game when Cleveland was so close to going to the Super Bowl, and then Denver won in overtime. Can he stop Elway today? Second and 6. Humphrey gets 2. Mike Bell, the veteran from Colorado State. Chris Martin and a pack of red bring up third and 3.5. Lots of scoring elsewhere. Washington in a defensive struggle trying to beat the Eagles. And Green Bay is pulled within 4 after the Lions led 24-3. And this crowd wants defense. Finding the open man, Mark Jackson, and a first down. Oh, that Elway. They had him for a sack. He was able to wiggle free with his strength and fire back across field.
He was sacked. There's no question about it. Mike Shanahan indicates, and we agree completely, he turns a sack into a touchdown. Look at this. Everybody's got position on him. Now look at him throw back to his right, going to his left. And he has a sixth sense about finding people at the last instant.
Here's the fullback, Alexander, and his heat drilled. Derek Thomas shooting in from his linebacker post to hit the 232-pound fullback and drop him in his tracks.
And Thomas and Moss make a big play. See Thomas coming underneath the block, right there, taking on the ball carrier with Moss right back up over the top. Thomas is playing this game like he's played for 10 years as a pro. He goes underneath the blocker and cuts everything off.
He says, I don't even know my moves. I don't know where I got them. They're just instinctive. And second and 10. Fake to Humphrey. Smith can't drop Elway, who passes it to Kay, and the tight end gets short yardage to the 37. And again, you think Elway doesn't have strong legs. Oh, you just need more than one man to get him on the ground.
Well, that would stop the drive. Neil Smith had Elway dead to rights. Clay Pate coming outside. Here's a fine athlete. So Elway sets him up, then moves on him, then throws the ball. But again, Kansas City's got great pursuit and movement to the ball.
Neil Smith, 55 pounds heavier than the quarterback, couldn't get him down.
Well, here's a critical play. All of them are, but this one in particular, there's just enough time for Denver to drive for a score, but this is 3rd down and 9 yards to go.
And we'll have time to think about it, as will the offenses and defenses. 2-minute timeout in Kansas City. A crowd of 76,245. That's one of the magnificent stadiums in the league. It's 17 years old, but you'd think it's only a couple of years since it's been constructed. It was after this stadium that they modeled Giant Stadium. Marty Schottenheimer and Dan Reeves in another coaching duel, and it comes down to the final 2 minutes, tied at 13. Denver looking at 3rd down and 7.
Denver has the quick receivers. They've got Sewell, number 30. He's in there. Take a look. He's in the backfield now with Elway. Kansas City showing blitz.
Elway under pressure. Throws downfield, complete to Jackson. And Jackson in the open field, brought down at the 40-yard line. And again, Elway using his mobility to buy time. He eluded the rush. Mike Bell was in on him, and Gene Barth was the man who was tackled by Bell.
Well, look at the clean, obvious clip behind the line of scrimmage here. Look at this. Right in front of the referee. Right in front of him. In fact, the man was blocked into him.
Illegal use of the hands. They're directly in the back, but in that situation, protecting the passer, they are more liberal.
It was a complete contact in the back.
Timeout.
All right, you're going to see a clip from behind, a push, clearly illegal, right in this spot right here. There's the push. Elway's in trouble, gets away with it.
Rodney Humphrey, 1st down at the 41 of Kansas City, and he drives for 3, maybe 4 yards. Walker Lee Ashley, the former Viking, made the tackle.
Elway, 2 great plays, avoiding not only a sack that would basically put the game in overtime, but completing big passes off what would normally be a sack to the human quarterback.
David Treadwell, the place kicker who took Rich Carlos's job. His longest this year is 46 yards. Humphrey hit in the backfield. Chris Martin, another ex-Viking, made the stop. Here's a guy that was available on waivers a year ago. Martin, who has become, in the words of Schottenheimer, you have to get some votes for Pro Bowl. He has been a solid player for me.
Played beautifully. From the inside out, people are going to sift in between those pulling linemen right there. 2 people, Martin.
52 seconds to go. Timeout. Well, this is where, and I'd like to just follow up on what you said, Bill Walsh, about John Elway and the words of Mike Shanahan and Dan Reeves. Shanahan said there are a lot of quarterbacks, when everything goes perfectly, that can't make the big play. Elway, when there's a breakdown and it isn't perfect, can get you a touchdown.
He can make a play out of a disaster. He's done it over and over throughout his career, and that's what Marty Schottenheimer is staring at right now. He knows what is most likely to happen here. Elway moving out of the pocket, people chasing him hitting somebody late down the field.
3rd and 9. There's that shovel pass to Sewell, and it works again. And it might go really big, all the way to the 8-yard line. Steve Sewell, from the start of this game, whenever he's in the lineup, he's making big plays, and that one was worth 31 yards.
Beautifully called, no question about it. It's a well-conceived play. Sewell will step away from Elway, then come back in front of him.
Bill Moss, the big nose tackle, trailing the play, got him from behind, just inside the 9-yard line, and Now you wonder about, well, they're just going to let the clock run down, 6-5, and they'll call time right in here. And they're not going to waste any drama at all. Here comes David Treadwell to try what is not much more than an extra point. Treadwell has kicked a short one that started the game after a long kickoff return with a kickoff to start the game. Treadwell hit on an 18-yarder when Kansas City stacked up the Broncos at the 1-yard line. This one will be a touch longer, 26 yards.
Well, again, Elway making great plays, spontaneous plays.
You know, so often fans, critics, writers, broadcasters, when they vote for awards, they look at statistics. And when you look at John Elway's numbers, they're not very impressive. But the one number that really is wins and losses. He wins.
His fourth quarter drives, his resourcefulness. He's a superb football player.
Now, Bill, there's another added part of this drama. Keith Bishop, the normal snapper, is not here. He's back in Denver. So Keith Karts will snap the ball. Kubiak to hold. And now Kansas City will try to ice the kicker Treadwell with a timeout. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Kansas City Chiefs and the National Football League is prohibited. The game is the property of the National Football League, Denver Broncos, and Kansas City Chiefs. All rights reserved.
Kansas City is most likely to lose this game, but what progress they've made. Naturally, the most valuable player, a lot of people would say Elway, but Sewell, what a great player, carrying the ball on his reverses, catching that shovel pass, catching the ball down the field. Steve Sewell, most valuable player.
5 catches for 84 yards today, and when they made it the tough yards. Now here it is for the game. Denver goes 8-2.
Well, you know, Kansas City is frustrated, no question about it. All of these people have come out. But I learned through my experiences, they're making a lot of progress. When you lose like this, you're still making dramatic progress. So Marty Schottenheimer and his organization, they can still feel they're moving toward winning football.
Not over. 1 second left. They stopped it at 4 seconds instead of 3, and that second allows a kickoff now. And Treadwell, head down. And the skinny guy says, this is what I dreamed about. And Reeves coolly watches Treadwell punch it through. But Steve Sewell and John Elway and company are the ones who made it happen.
Dan Reeves is in the process of changing the team personnel-wise, even changing a style defensively, and still winning. It takes organization, it takes talent, but there's the insights that this man has that puts him above and beyond virtually every other person in the coaching profession.
Patrick Boland, his team going through incredible change offensively and defensively. A lot of rookies, a lot of popular veterans were cut free. That was part of the torment of Reeves, saying this has been his toughest year of coaching. But what changes they've made. They brought in bigger players. They brought in the exuberance of youth and the talent. Took a chance on Bobby Humphrey as a supplemental #1 draft. And are 8-2 atop the AFC. Now the kickoff, and they're not going to kick it high here, you wouldn't think.
It'll take much.
And as soon as it's touched, the 1 second will tick away, and there it is. The Broncos 16, Kansas City 13. The Chiefs still ever so close. A disappointing now 4-6, and John Elway finding a way to win again. Gives the Denver Broncos coach Dan Reeves a heart-pounding win here in Kansas City today, a place where he's had his troubles, both men, Reeves and Elway. But they go home winners on this Sunday.